If you're new to my YouTube channel, please click that subscribe button and remember to click the bell icon to get notifications of all my uploads throughout the week. So this is a cleanup page in my Dina Wakley Multi-surface journal, and as you can see it's covered in just splodges of oranges and kind of reds, and just wiped off with a baby wipe and then left to dry. But I have some other Dina Wakley colours here. I've got some blues and some greens, just a mixture of blues and greens that I'm going to add into the background using some ink blending foams. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab some of the bottles and just put splodges of colour down, and then grabbing one of those blending foams, I'm just going to add it into the background like so. And then I'm going to grab another colour. And I'm not particularly bothered about making sure that it's on a clean blending foam, because I want a nice kind of grungy-ish background. I'm going to grab a green. So this is the lime. The last two colours were ocean and peacock. So now I'm going to add some of that lime in, and then add that in there. I know I said random, but I seem to be developing a little bit of a symmetrical pattern, but that's fine, because intuitive play is all about just grabbing stuff and then just seeing where it leads you. So I've now got sky. So I'm going to add a little bit of that up there, bit there, bit there, and a tad there, maybe a bit there and a bit there. And then that other foam, just get some different shades and tones of colour into that background. It doesn't matter whether we can still see that orange underneath. Just let it do what it wants. Okay. So I want to add a little bit more colour. I've got another foam tool somewhere. There we go. So I'm going to add some of that other green. Just trying to see what it says. I think it says evergreen. I could be wrong. I usually am. That'll do. And we'll just get some of that green. It's a different colour again. Just gives it a little bit more depth, so we've got a nice kind of grungy, greeny background. So I'm going to bluey, greeny background. Let's just see if we can get rid of a little bit of that red colour there, a bit more. That lighter colour back in, just over the top, that's it. Dab it down, get some of that colour back into it again. Maybe a little bit down the side there. Right, let's get it dried off. Okay, so we've got background is now dry. I've now got a collage image that I want to add in onto this page. And as you can see, I've got some greens in her top, and I think actually she does fit quite nicely in there. So I'm just going to grab some matte medium. This is a new bottle of matte medium from Winsor & Newton, virtually unused. Just give that a coating on there, and then I'm going to turn her over and drop her down. May get a little bit of wrinklage, wrinkly dinklage, but that's okay. Don't mind a little bit of that. There we go. So let's get her dry, which won't take long. See, a lot of those wrinkles now have dropped out. Like wallpaper. Doesn't always. Sometimes you're stuck with them. Sometimes you can get very lucky. Okay. So I'll just drop that into some water. Now I have another stencil. This is my Lotus Flower stencil, which I've just released, which is on the website. This is the accompanying one to the Spring Bloom, which you saw yesterday. And now I'm going to grab some more Dina Wakley paints. Let's see what other colours I want. A yellow colour. Lemon. And I want a reddish colour, but I don't want to use cheddar. So we're going to use tangerine, and I'm going to use ruby. Let's pop those back. So I'm now going to place this stencil just above her eyes, like so. And then I'm going to use the red colour first. I'm going to add a little bit of the red onto there, get it blended in on my foam, and then I'm going to go around red in the centre, flick it outwards, concentrate mainly around the base area there. Just like that. Now the beautiful thing about this is that you can actually put it back down, because it's a fairly wide stencil design. And then all of these ones of these ink blending foams that I'm using with the paint, I'm going to wash after I've finished using them. So we should theoretically be able to use them all again. Actually, I want to get that dry, because I don't particularly want that red paint mixing too much. I think we're dry. Okay, so I've loaded another foam up. I'm going to add orange. And then I'm going to lay that stencil back down again. And this time start blending it out. Not all the way. Liking that. I'm liking the way that the blue is showing through. The blue and that green. So just let that cool down for a second. Put the lid back on the red and the orange. The orange is pretty much all gone. Not a lot of paint left on there. So I'm going to add that yellow onto that same sponge, and again lay the stencil down and start adding some of that yellow into the centre. Like it. Okay, so I need to have a little bit of a tidy up and clear up of this over here. I need to get this dry and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we're pretty much dry there. So I've now got a Signo Uniball white opaque pen. So what I want to do is I'm going to try and now trace around each of these stencil sections. So this may take me a little while, and where those little dots were, I'm actually going to colour those in white because they're part of the stencil pattern, as you can see. So it will put some dots, maybe better if you can see it from that way. So it will put dots around there. So I will carry on doing this and then I'll join with you once I've managed to draw around all of these sections without making too much of a mess. Yep, I could hear you, don't worry. think, yeah, there are some parts of it where the pen's gone a bit wobbly up there, but that's fine. Oh, that looks cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm also going to use the pen to trace her hair, and to also outline her features. Now what this will do will help just to blend and kind of bring everything together. Kind of unify the image as a whole. It's a bit Diane Reevely, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I'll do is I'll go back up there with her hair, just so she kind of all blends together. Okay, that's going to take a few seconds to dry on its own. I've just spotted somewhere I missed. There we go. I'm liking these white blobs, and I've got the word bubble wrap screaming at me because I kind of knew I was going to be adding some white dots, so I'm going to add some white bubble wrap too. So I just need some white paint and a ladle brush, which we've got here. A little bit of white paint, a little bit of buble wrap, and then we can start just to layer a little bit of that together. As you can see, I'm doing first and second gen with it. I'm just using my thumb to press down. Just so that it helps pull some of that image together. Then it starts to unify it all a little. He says, hoping. Come on, wet wipe. There we go. Just get that off my fingers. There is some water in this. There is some water in that pen pot, that brush pot on my desk. Probably needs emptying or changing. Okay, let's get that dry. So now I want to add some journaling. So I've now got one of the Pigment Micron archival pens. This is the number 5, so it's got a fairly decent sized nib to allow me to journal on this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to journal just up the sides here and then just down the other side of her body there. I'm not going to journal a huge amount, but I'm going to just add some free-flowing lettering just up the side. and all I've written is, let ideas like flowers bloom and grow in your mind. So now I've got some black there. I will probably just go around the edge. Maybe I will add actually a stamped black border. I'm in the mood for a black stamped border. So jet black archival ink, and what have I got to hand? Perfect. This is a stamp set from my friend Gina Aarons, and it's mounted and cut. I believe you can get these stamps from her Etsy store. I will try and put a link to her Etsy store in the description below this, and I think I want to use this one. I like that one. So I'll just grab a stamp block. Should be big enough. Yes, plenty big enough. And then get it inked up. And then I can add that as a kind of border. And because it's a kind of repeating pattern, it doesn't matter if you kind of go off. It's a good one. And of course, if I'm feeling patient, I could come back at a later date. Look at that, fits just almost perfectly in that gap there, so I'm not going to go over that part of the design. So if I was feeling really patient, I would colour that in. Almost an exact fit look all the way around that page. Who'd have thought it? Who knew? Who knew indeed? Right, let's see whether... Have I got time? It's all in the doodles. Have I got time? Make time. I've got that song in my head now. You know, the one from the James Bond film. Some of you out there going, hey, James Bond? And there'll be some of you going, oh yeah, I know what you mean. Okay, right. I think, actually, I'm going to leave that there. I think I've got it. I could add some, oh, here we go. You see, this is how it happens. You start doing with nothing, and then all of a sudden the doodle bug grabs hold and doesn't leave you alone. See, once you start, you just can't stop. It's like eating Pringles. Can't do it. It won't let you. It's like an addiction. it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Okay, I'm going to quickly sign and date this before it gets too far. So, date is it today? Peeps, it is Friday the 6th of April. 6/4, because I'm foreign, 18. That's it. Calling this done. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, without whose generosity and support these videos would not be possible. Thank you.